I guess I would say about 2 years ago, the same people who were standing with me today were standing with me at the Hicksville Railroad Station, where we spoke about congestion pricing and the sham that congestion pricing is and continues to be. And I say continues to be because this is something that is not over. I would love to be able to say as we stand here today that we're not going to see congestion pricing rear its ugly head once again. I would love to be able to say that Governor Hochul has learned that you cannot govern against the will of the people forever. Where it comes to cashless bail, criminal justice reform, congestion pricing, they have not learned the lesson that you cannot govern against the will of the people. What she's doing is listening to the will of her pollsters. Because this is, and Senator Canzoneri Fitzpatrick is 1,000% correct, this is 1,000% about politics. And trust me, after the November election, everyone who is celebrating today, and there is a cause for celebration temporarily, we have won a battle. But trust me, we have not won the war. And we will not win the war unless and until there is a full repeal of congestion pricing. This was a sham from day one. And those of us standing behind me, and many more in this side of the Capitol, knew that. The people who don't know that and continue not to know that are the people on the other side of the hall. The people in the majority on the other side of the Capitol building, in the Assembly. Because right now, they are sitting, trying to devise a way to screw the people of Orange, Putnam, Westchester, Rockland, the outer boroughs of New York City, Nassau and Suffolk counties, to try and find out how are they going to make up that $1 billion. It's coming out of your pocket. Money doesn't appear out of thin air. We know it's coming from someplace, but that's only a temporary fix. Whether they decide that it's going to be an MTA payroll tax, whether they decide they're going to take it out of the general fund, out of reserve funds, it's all taxpayer money that's being spent. Taxpayer money that doesn't need to be spent because the MTA is a black hole that we continue to throw money into. I've said many times on the floor and in press conferences, the MTA stands for money thrown away. And that's exactly what it is and exactly what it's always been. And we continue to feed the beast. And congestion pricing was just the latest way to be able to do that. For everybody that says this was about the environment, well, how come the environment doesn't matter now? For everybody that said that this was about trying to encourage people to use mass transit, well, why did the MTA raise tolls? Why did the MTA turn around and raise bus fare, subway fare, raise the Long Island Railroad price to be able to use mass transit to get into the city of New York? This was always about money. It was always about revenue, and it continues to be about revenue. And that problem, even though this temporarily has stopped, isn't going away. And however they decide that they're going to fill the hole is going to come from you. It's going to come from the taxpayers. It's going to come from the residents. The only way to stop this from happening is a full repeal. And for those who on the other side of the aisle are saying now how grateful they are and happy they are that congestion pricing is temporarily on pause, the very same ones who voted for this, by the way, they had an opportunity to repeal it tonight. Senator Weber brought up an amendment on the floor to a bill that came up, his version of S. 8149, which would be a full repeal of congestion pricing. And every single Democrat in the Senate, every one of them, including the ones that are celebrating that it's on pause, every single one of them voted against it. Every single one. So trust me, this is about politics. And I will tell you that the governor and the Democrats have learned nothing. And while we can all be happy that congestion pricing is on pause, it's coming back. And that's why we need to put pressure on the governor. We need to put pressure on the majorities in the state Senate and state assembly, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, now. Put pressure on them now to do a full repeal, because that is the only thing that will save the taxpayers of the state of New York, the hardworking taxpayers, the hardworking businesses, and the residents who will be paying out of pocket for this absurdity.